You're listening to Main Character Manifesto, wellness, mindset, and identity shifts that help you build the life you don't need an escape from. I am your host, Ceci, your no BS coach and wellness bestie. Around here, it's simple. Eat what you love, move with purpose, think bigger, and show the hell up. Are you ready? Let's get into it.
Who's that girl? That's me. I'm on fire. I'm a hot girl. Girl, I get anything I want, this is my world. I make big moves in my big heels. Since the day that I was born, I've been a big deal.
Let's do this. You may be wondering, why is she sitting on the floor? That's not her usual spot. Well, I wanted to switch things up a little bit. I thought, why don't we get cozy? It's like, let's bring it down. Let's get cozy. Let's chat, because I feel like sometimes we need a little reminder that we need to just relax and take life not so serious. Who else has had heavy things in their life? I feel like I've talked to a lot of people that have a lot of family members who are sick, or maybe they're sick themselves. And there's just a lot of heaviness, especially in the political climate. There's just heaviness, right? So I figured, let's get cozy and let's just chit chat about our goals and our dreams and how we're going to get there. So yeah, that's why we are cozy on the floor today. I mean, we'll see how my back does. I thought it would be cozy, but I don't know if this is like the most comfortable situation for 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. But you know what? We're going with it because I kind of like the vibe. I had actually been thinking that I wanted to do some podcasts that felt a little bit more relaxed, not so rigid and sitting there perfectly and all the things. So today's the day, baby. Here we are, breaking the mold. But anyways, let's get into today's episode. And actually today, I am very excited to share something with you because a year ago today, I am always working on my personal development, on my business, my personal, my finances, all the things. I'm always doing something, okay? I'm always working with a coach. There's always leveling up that we are doing over here, okay? So a year ago, I was doing this program and it required me to do a future self letter. So what this is, it's a letter to the future you. And the way that it was formatted, I was supposed to write it in the present tense, kind of saying like, I am so proud of you for all of these things that have already happened, right? The past me, 2024 Ceci, was telling 2025 Ceci, I'm so proud of you for all of the things that you've accomplished. And then I broke it down. I went into different areas of my life. I went into feelings and emotions and things that I would want to overcome, but I made it a statement like I had already done it. And I got the letter October 2nd, which was a few days ago. And let me just tell you, that year went by so fast. So fast. And I'm not even going to lie, I have been dreading this letter because I know that in that letter, I wrote some really, really big manifestations, like really big, like the dreams, the desires. Like I just went really big, and I felt a little bit like I was scared to receive it because when I was going to open it, I was going to feel like a failure. And then it was kind of like this cycle of having all these feelings and feeling down and feeling like you're a little bit of a failure and all of these things, right? So being the life coach that I am, and I know that I'm trained, I know what reality is, I know what perception is, I know that I made my goals almost unattainable for that 1 year. Why? because it makes you work harder. It makes you strive further. It makes you keep reaching for something else, right? So it's like, what is that saying? It's like you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. What if I was like, oh my God, that seems so totally unattainable, so I'm just gonna avoid it and then I'm not even gonna try. But then what if I started to just be like, that seems so unattainable, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to try. I'm just going to try. Let's just see what happens. Can you imagine if you actually tried at every idea, at every little intuition call that you had, that your soul's desire told you to go for? Can you imagine the kind of things that you could achieve and that you could call into your life because you shot your shot? You put it out into the universe. You said, let me try. And you lose nothing from trying, right? So I officially read my letter today, literally right here a few hours ago. And it felt very scary at first. And it was a little emotional, but it was really good. I don't sound convinced, right? I was like, why am I hesitating right there? It was just a reminder. It was a beautiful reminder that what I wanted a year ago, most of the things on there, I still want for myself, for the future. And I kind of needed to hear that right now, because whenever you start to go down a journey where things are really changing in your life and you're really, really pushing yourself to the limits, I mean, you are really stretching yourself all the way to your max, and you're like, like those Laffy Taffies where you're like, I don't know if you guys had them when you were younger, but I used to love them. And then you grab them and you just stretch them and you stretch them until eventually it just breaks apart into two pieces. That's how I have felt this past year. And I have gone through a lot of different changes. I mean, I've been through a divorce, of course. That definitely stretched and broke me. I feel like it made me a better person. Whatever happened, I feel like I was supposed to go through, because I wouldn't be here where I am now. And I know 1,000% I am supposed to be here. So I want to remind you, whatever you're going through right now, if you feel like you're being stretched, and if you feel like this is nothing like you've ever done before, remember all of the things you've been through, because I even saw a quote today and it fits perfectly into today's episode, and I'm going to read it to you because it truly felt like it was sent to me today. And if I'm going through this, I know many of you are going to be going through something similar, if not the same type of expansion and feeling of failure, hopelessness, excitement. It's like literally a sandwich of all of the emotions and fear and everything. So let me read this quote to you because I think you need to hear it as well. Okay, are you ready? This is a quote by Vex King. He is an amazing writer. I have read one of his books. I am blanking out on the name of his book, but definitely look him up. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram and I will send you all the info. So here's the quote. So you're telling me that every time you thought you couldn't get through something difficult, you did. And now you're back here thinking you won't succeed. Trust your track record, my friend. Trust your history of overcoming. And then he has a different one that says, plot twist. You're actually really good at doing hard things. Check your resume of resilience. Every breakdown that led to a breakthrough, every impossible that became I did it, you've got this, just like always. Stop forecasting failure when your history shows resilience. You've surprised yourself before. You'll do it again. You've always made it through what you faced. This is no different. And then he has one last one that I loved also, and it fit perfectly for today. Okay, listen. Dear future worry, I've met your cousins before. They all say I couldn't make it. And guess what? They were wrong every single time. Signed, your track record. How incredible is this? And how fitting is it that I stumbled upon this post exactly on the day that I opened my future you letter? So, this episode obviously is an invitation to you, my friends, to do the same thing. I want you guys to also sit down and pour your heart, your soul, everything into this future you letter, because I know that there's things that your soul has been craving, your mind, your heart. There's things that you want, and I know that it has been proven that unless you write it down and you keep that vision alive, it will not happen. So today we are going to make it happen. And I am going to give you the structure that I used to write my future you letter. Are you guys so excited? I'm so excited for you guys, because you know what? When I read my letter, I was like, okay, cool. I don't have to write another letter, because a lot of these things still apply for next year. And a lot of those really hard, invisible things that I achieved, I'm so proud of. When I wrote this letter, I was deathly afraid of being visible. I didn't want to post on Instagram. I knew I wanted a podcast. I was terrified. I did not even know how to do it, what to do, how to start, how to record. I didn't know anything. Even though I consider myself to be pretty tech savvy, it was still such a daunting task to learn the editing, to learn the recording, to learn all the equipment. How do you upload? What platform does it go to? How do you distribute it? How do I find help? Who can I hire? What do I do? It was just so much. And even when you have a business, especially an online business like mine is, now you're not only a business owner, you are a content creator, you are a social media expert, you have to be a business expert, email marketing. I mean, there's so much. And on top of that, you have to get ready, put yourself together, and be on front of the camera and talking to people. I mean, I'm not complaining, because I clearly put myself out here. So I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's a lot. It's a lot to learn. It's a lot to handle. And there was a lot of fear that was there for me in this season of my life. So I feel like that has been my biggest win. Even though when I look through the letter and I see that there's all of these other amazing goals that are still relevant and are still part of my life that I still want to achieve, I know that what I have achieved has been such a breakthrough, and I am very proud of myself. So let's get back to you, though. This is what it's about. I am here to serve you, to help you, to guide you. I am here doing all the tests so that I can tell you what works. And also I can be like, hey, do this, don't do that. This worked for me. I don't know if it'll work for you. So I tested the waters, and I am here to share, because we do not gatekeep here, baby. I am going to show you everything that I know so that you can become the best version of yourself. And even if that's just one step at a time, that's all you need to do. So let's get into the steps for today. So let's remember that writing this future letter to yourself, it's not just about goal setting, it's about energetic alignment. It's a reminder of what your soul already knows you're meant for. The reason why this is so important is because it forces you to really sit down and think about what are the things that are important to you, what are the things that are missing, and you get clarity of what are the things that you want to attract into your life. It's a way to fast track your manifestation to bring whatever your desires into your life even faster because you are becoming aware of them. You're writing them down as if it already happened. What that does, it's actually proven neuroscience that when you write it down and you feel it and then you remember and you repeat it every single day, then your body and your mind are thinking that it's already yours. It's already on its way. And then that's naturally going to attract these things into your life. That's why I'm so passionate about it. Let me just tell you, lately, I know the power of my words because I know that as soon as I say I'm doing something, as soon as the words leave my mouth, if somebody is asking me, oh, what are you doing for this? Or what are you doing that? Or what's your next thing that you're doing? I know that if I say that I'm going to do something, it will happen. So I am so careful with my words because your words are spells. Your words are spells that are going out into the universe and then you're going to attract them back. So with that said, you have to be really careful that your spells, your words are positive. You have to think about, yes, whatever you say will happen when you get into that energy of like high attraction. But also, if you're being really negative with yourself, you can also attract negative things into your life. So let's be careful. Another thing I want to talk about is that when I read my letter and I realized that some of these things hadn't happened yet, my first instinct was to feel like a failure. But we are not that girl anymore because now we shift our energy, we shift any negative mindset that we may have, and we turn it and we see what the reality is. The reality is that it hasn't happened yet. Okay, so it hasn't happened yet because it's still in progress. I am building the foundation. These are stepping stones. Everything that I did last year was a stepping stone to be where I want to be last year. The me last year would look into today and be like, damn, you've done real damn good. You have done a great job and I am so proud of you. And I am. So let's be really mindful of how we're talking to ourselves when that year comes. And listen, I feel like I should write a note and remind myself. Actually, no, you know what? I know that I'm going to re-record the same episode next year because I am going to write another updated future you letter to myself to 2026. So we're going to be right back here. So you guys better write your letter. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be mean. I hope you write your letter, even if it's like a really short note. But I highly encourage it. I'm not going to bully you into doing it. Let's get into like the good stuff. What was in your future you letter? Well, I included a financial goal, personal development goal, a relationship goal, lifestyle and travel goal, and inner peace goal. So you can really include whatever you want. Here are some prompts that I have for you that we can kind of work in for the different areas of your life. All right. So here we go. Here's a financial one. You can be like, Mary, I am so proud of how you have improved your relationship with money and how you've built stability while doing what you love. Do you see that? It's like you're talking about how it already happened. If you're talking about like personal development, it could be Mary, you've become so confident in being visible. Your story now inspires others, and you are confident showing up exactly as you are. Okay, so let's talk about relationship and love. You can say something like, Mary, you set the boundaries that were really hard for you, but were super important, and you stuck to them. I am so proud that because of these changes, you have now attracted someone into your life who matches your energy and respects your boundaries. Do you see that? Do you see how you're really talking about how you want to attract somebody that really is attracted to exactly who you are? You can even spin that if you're married or in a relationship to be like, Mary, I am so proud that you showed up and you set boundaries with your partner and you were thoughtful and considerate and patient to show them what kind of love you want to give. And in turn, that inspired them to give you that same love, respect, and the relationship that you've been wanting. So we are speaking this into existence because you want to set the stage and you want to lead with intention. So sometimes whatever we want into our life, we have to be the leader. We have to be the one setting the space and being like, okay, this is what I want. I'm going to show you what I want. And it's going to be like a quiet inner peace, powerful message, not by yelling and screaming and you never do this and I don't want this, and like that's chaotic. So if they're not acting like how you want them to act, if something is not aligning, take your energy back, pour it back into yourself, and then just show up fully. I feel like that is what's worked for me. So this is what I would suggest for you. All right, so let's do one for inner peace. I really like this one. For inner peace, you stopped rushing the timeline. You trust divine timing. And you know that what's meant for you cannot miss you. I love that. I literally say that to myself all the time. What's meant for me will never miss. What's meant for me will never pass me by. So if you're driving or if you're doing something busy and you can't be taking notes, do not worry. I am actually going to put a prompt together. I'm going to put a little document that will be a free download for you guys to just download and fill in the prompts so that you can put together your own future you letter. Some of the things that you can do, you can choose a year, you can choose 6 months. I actually really liked the year. I felt like it came and went really, really fast. So I don't think that I would do 6 months. I do have these like quarterly check-ins that I put on my calendar, and that feels like it comes by super quick. And that does make me feel like motivated to get some of my projects done faster. They do say that if you slap a date on and a deadline on a certain project, that it will get done. Because if you're like, oh, I'll get it done when I'm ready, you're never going to be ready. So what you need to do is slap on a timeline, say it out loud so people can hold you accountable, and then you'll get that shit done. Let me just tell you, when I said, okay, I want to launch my podcast before Streamfest, that festival that I was a social media manager for, I said, I want to launch the podcast by this date. And then I had to do it because it was happening. So there you go. Okay, so let's talk about logistics. How did I do it? I actually just did it through my email. I wrote it out, I set a date, and then I set it to send out later, and the date was a year later. Super easy. There is other services that will be like Future You or other. Make it simple. Make it super simple. You can even set a reminder on your phone. You can write it if you are more of like a pen and paper type of person. You can write it and then you can put it away and then remind yourself. I kind of do that every year for my birthday or for New Year's or things like that. I like to do that, but this is the first time that I do an email. And I was actually on my phone when the email came in and I got butterflies. I was like not expecting it. I didn't remember when I was going to get the letter. So it was just kind of wild to think about you from a year ago talking to you now, you know? Another thing that I have done, I have actually recorded a future you video and I haven't opened that one. I think I recorded that one at a separate time so that I'll open it later. I didn't send it to myself. I just have it on my calendar to go back and look at it. So that's another thing that you can do. And I feel like that is really similar to my letter. I feel like my goals are kind of the same. So I kind of know where to gauge of where I'm at. But that is something else that you can do. I also recorded myself in video reading the letter because I want to watch myself next year reading the letter that I wrote last year. That'll be me 2 years ago that wrote a letter that me a year ago is reading. I don't know. I just really love time capsules. Remember when you were like in 7th or 8th grade and you had a time capsule and then you got to open it a year later? A lot of things happen when you're that young. Like maybe your friends aren't your friends anymore and the boy you liked isn't that boy you liked anymore and the food that you liked isn't that. And it's just really cool to look back and see how far you've come and how much you've changed and where you've been and where you're going. But what I love most about this practice is that it teaches us patience, trust, and self-worth. And it reminds us that the goals that have not happened yet have not missed. They're just maturing. We're just building the stepping stones to get there. And the beauty about revisiting your letter is that it becomes a mirror of your growth, not your gaps. What it did for me is it reminded me what I truly wanted a year ago, because when you're in the thick of it, when you're in the murky water, you can't see clear and you are still kind of weighed down with fear and, oh my God, I've been doing this long. Why am I not here? When is it coming? You almost get impatient. And reading that letter made me realize that that is my blueprint. That is my life plan blueprint. So write this letter like if you want all of your goals and dreams that you've ever wanted to happen in this letter. Because if you go really, really small, then you're going to outgrow that really quickly. I rather have really big, beautiful, unattainable dreams that I can keep working towards, because that keeps me motivated. That keeps you going. It keeps you looking forward to something to do for the next season of your life. That's how I see it, and that's how I hope you see it. And so now you know what your homework for this week is. Of course, it's going to be to write your own future you letter. Like I said, I will be posting a free PDF that you can download with steps on exactly how to do it, the prompts, kind of like how to structure it, things you can include, how to do the date so you can send it later, or maybe set a calendar reminder on your phone if you want to do pen and paper. But like always, if you decide to write this letter, please tag me. Please message me, tag me on social media. I would love to hear that I inspired you in some way to do something for the future you. And I'm so excited to be back here in a year, and we're going to be chatting about all of the amazing things that we have achieved. And like always, if this episode sparked something in you, or if you know a friend that may be inspired or needs to hear this message, send it to them. Like, share. Please don't forget to subscribe. And like always, keep showing up for yourself. Your story hasn't been written, you're literally living in it. So keep showing up for yourself. And I will see you next week. Bye.